What's up everybody? Today I'm going to be doing a quick review of the DeWalt 15-gallon air compressor. So let's just start out with the specs of this thing. I think you can read it right there on the air compressor. It's a 15-gallon, 225 PSI compressor. At 90 PSI it has 5 SCFM. And it doesn't show it on here, but I think at like 40 it's like 6.5 or 6.8 or something like that. And the motor is a 1.6 horsepower. So let's start out with why I chose to buy this air compressor. So I actually have a couple rental properties and I wanted an air compressor that was nice and portable. I plan on using this to blow out the sprinklers, and I'll probably use it on other jobs with nail guns and things like that when I'm just doing work on those properties. In addition to that, I'm expecting to use it in my garage and at home and on other projects on cars using air tools and whatever else. I just wanted to mention that to make it clear that one of my main goals was to have an air compressor that was portable. This air compressor was fairly unique. When I was looking around, there's a lot that are 150 PSI or 175 PSI compressors. However, this one being 225 PSI, and that really appealed to me because it's pretty compact, it's easy to move around, it has pretty good wheels on it and things. However, one thing that's deceiving about this is it's not the lightest air compressor. This thing actually weighs like 105 pounds, so it's not super light. It's definitely not the lightest air compressor you're gonna find, but it has this handle on top. When I move it around, I can wheel it over to my truck bed, just grab this and pull it up. So for my usage, I haven't used it a ton yet, but like I said, I did blow out the sprinklers with it and it worked pretty well for that. I have 2 rental properties and then my own home, so I used it to blow out 3 different sprinkler systems and didn't have any trouble. The only problem when blowing out the sprinklers is I would usually fill it up, blow out one set, and then you have to wait for it to fill up again and then blow out another set. So it does take some time. I do wish it had 2 outlets just so that I could have one of the bigger connectors. I think they're 3/8 and then one of the smaller ones at 1/4, because I think there'd be times where it's beneficial to have one or the other. And then another thing that I don't like about this is at the bottom it has this ball valve to release the air. And I mean, it works fine and everything, but where it's located drives me crazy because every time I go to move it, I'm just afraid that it's gonna snap off if it hits something. The valve is at a little bit of an angle, you can probably see, but when you tip it to move it, it just about gets it so it's poking straight down, and it's only about 1 inch, maybe 1/2 inch off of the ground. And so, like I say, I'm just afraid it's gonna snap off one of these days. So one of the things I wanted to do on the video was actually just time how long it takes for this air tank to fill from 0 to 225 PSI. That'll give you an idea of how long it takes to fill up, and also you'll get to kind of see how loud it is. I think it's rated at 78 decibels. And it's not the loudest thing. If you're outside, it's actually not bad. Inside the garage, it definitely seems a lot louder, but it's still not the loudest air compressor I've ever been around. So that's kind of nice. All right, here goes nothing. Okay, so there you have it. It was 9.5 minutes, you know, give or take a few seconds. We're sitting at the max PSI right now. You know, it got up to 100 PSI pretty quick, about I think it was around 2 to 2.5 minutes. Once it got past about 175, it just really slowed down. To get from 200 to 225, I think that was like 2 to 2.5 minutes just right there. So this is the pressure regulator, and I want to see if you turn this all the way up, what's like the max air that you're gonna get. So that's the pressure regulator gauge right here, so it's not quite 150. I think that's about 145. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, and I'm not sure how accurate these gauges are either. So now I'm going to start letting a little bit of air out of the tank and see where the compressor kicks back on. So I have the air regulator turned down quite a bit. It's pretty low right now. I'm just going to plug this in. There's nothing on the end of it, and we'll just see when the air compressor kicks back on. And right now we're just below 200 PSI. So let's just see what happens here. So I must have had the regulator turned all the way down to 0, but it's starting to let some air out now. So that was right around 180, I believe, maybe 175, 180, right in there when the air compressor kicked on. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what this air compressor is capable of. For more tool reviews and for more car videos, click my logo to subscribe. And as always, remember to like and share the video. Thanks.